Welcome, everybody. We are beachside in Daytona Beach, Florida, the Volusia County 200. We're kicking off a new season of HTL racing. The HTL National Series begins tonight. It's the World Center of Racing on one of the most important weekends of the year for ABN. The Winstall 400 this weekend with some HTL flair mixed into it as well. I'm Carmen, Sienna. Thank you all for joining us for what should be a very exciting night. It's already been exciting on ABN2 with Winstall 400 pole qualifying. But we got some racing to do tonight. It's wide open coverage of the HTL National Series here on ABN Esports 1. Wide open coverage here. David Duran Jr. currently leads the way in the times. The 14 of Chris Justice not far behind as well. Some familiar faces coming out on track now. Josh Sosi in the 81. Kevin Gibney Jr. in the 31. Coming out of pit lane now. As well as the 8 of Connor Morse, teammates there for Lady Liberty Motorsports here tonight. "25 minutes left here in practice before we get into qualifying here for the HTL National Series season opener in Daytona. So let's walk you through what the HTL National Series is going to be like. 10 races make up the National Series for its first season, beginning here at Daytona. We'll see races at Chicagoland and Watkins Glen. As we run through the season, as we run and follow along with the HTL Cup Series playoffs, there's a couple races beyond that finale in Fontana in February. The season will make its conclusion in March at Las Vegas Motor Speedway after 10 rounds. No chase, no playoffs, no postseason system, just 10 races. Score as many points as possible to become champion of Season 1. See liveries being refreshed here in practice. Some new drivers we've not seen before. Everything being updated as we go along. Chris Justice, David Duran Jr., 2 of those drivers. Josh Sosi, a playoff driver for the HTL Cup Series. Very familiar with that 81 car. The mailman now driving a Napa car. Looking very nice out on track here tonight. Tony Burt, another driver that we have not seen before. He's in the number 4 tonight. There's a good look at his car. Sponsored by Adminbox, a partner of ABN's as well. Selena Thompson in a brand new livery, a brand new number from the 20 to the 10 and now the 12. Running a Ford Mustang livery, following the 9 of Eli Sasek. Some drivers we are all very familiar with. Another driver we're familiar with is the 42 of Mark Parkhurst. Familiar with him in the HTL Hammerdown Truck Series. We'll see him as well in the ABN Champ Car World Series when that begins later on this month on January 24th. So we're going to see a mixture of drivers that we've seen before and some new faces here tonight. Daytona's always going to put on a show. "27 drivers set to take part in tonight's season opening event. Watching right now, Tony Burt, that 4 car, falling a little bit behind Selena Thompson and Eli Sasek, who are tandemming there. You see those 2, the 9 and the 12, on your screen. Thompson 5th fastest at the moment. And Sasek will attempt to practice pit entry. Going to be very important for 80 laps here tonight. Some other familiar names, John Bawada. Long time no see for him. He's in the 51 tonight. Welcome him back to ABN screens. We'll actually see if we can ride on board. Ooh, really big bump shot there by Tony Burt onto Selena Thompson. We have a chance while we're at it to just show you some of the new things here with our bespoke overlay package brought to us by Andrew Schulte. Get to pull this up right now for Tony Burt, riding on board with him as everything gets underway. Got ourselves just the basic onboard logo there. A little more bespoke there. Should be able to show you the speed and the RPMs being run by Burt right now as we're out on board. Currently the 4th fastest car on track at the moment as things currently stand. Selena Thompson in the top 5 as well based on times, but again, they're very relative compared to what we're going to have to see in qualifying when all these drivers have to qualify by themselves. We'll see this later on in the race as well, where drivers started, where they've gotten to, where they've fallen. We'll see all of that in full display later on here. And we'll also see here the difference between Chris Justice and Tony Burt, almost a second. That's how quick Chris Justice and David Durand were when they set their times in this session. Keep an eye on that 14 and the 24 tonight. If they hook up, it could be a long night for some drivers here who are trying to find some friends to kick off the season. Tony Burt's gonna take a speeding lesson down pit lane here. Another driver we're very familiar with. We'll pivot to him. Josh Gaiman in the middle here with Josh Sosi. And then the 32 car behind, Jeremy Bailey, a brand new driver that we're seeing for the first time on ABN screens tonight. We're going to see a lot of drivers on ABN screens for the first time this weekend, whether on ABN 2 with the Winston 400 qualifying or here in the HTL National Series. Busy weekend for us here. The first weekend of 2024. Exciting stuff. We're glad you're with us here tonight. Live on both ABN 1 and ABN 2, carrying different parts of coverage for Daytona weekend. Gaiman now 3rd fastest behind, or ahead of Josh Sosi in the times, behind Josh Sosi in the leaderboards. Riding on board with him. Oh! Got a really bad look at that. And he gets hit from behind as well, and a huge, nasty accident riding on board with Gaiman there. There's Josh Sosi, who's also going to scramble on the back straightaway and hop through the grass, where I've seen so many drivers hook in and flipping over the years. See 18 laps being run so far here. We'll see that later on in the race as well. 14, Chris Justice is the current leader on the times. David Durand, who's just in front of him in that 24, sitting second. And you see these two are tandeming together. You're going to see that a decent amount here tonight. More and more drivers joining in here. 23 have set lap times so far. 5 drivers have not. Caleb Carter, James Wright, Chris Pendell, Jacob Schenkel, and Angel Santiago have all yet to set lap times here tonight. We'll see them in various ways and forms as this goes along. We'll have 28 cars by the time it's all said and done, as things are looking right now. As you see the 14 to 24 practice pit entry. We'll pivot back around. We'll actually focus on a couple of these drivers that have yet to set lap times, including Santiago in the 90 tonight. Jacob Schenkel about to set a lap time as well. 52 for Jacob Schenkel. For a very fun night here tonight. Get 28 cars to make that 29 with the addition of Alfred Denny, as more drivers joining in later and later into this practice session. A little under 15 minutes left in practice here. Bit of a scramble. There's 32, and Jimmy Bailey went down on the apron. Sosie's in this mix. There's Lena Thompson in this mix as well. The 51 also in the mix. That's John Bawalda mixing it up here at the moment. First time we've seen these cars in quite some time on avian screens. We'll go ahead and ride back on board with that 52 car of Jacob Schenkel. As was kind of pointed out for some of those that are watching live here, giant spoilers on the back of these cars, punching a big hole in the downforce, or a big hole in the air for downforce there. But you see the top of the spoiler is clear. That's very important. That clear part of the spoiler allows the drivers to use their rearview mirrors and see beyond the spoiler. They can actually still look back and see what's directly behind them, which is very important for tracks like this, where you'll see drivers nose to tail quite frequently here tonight. Schenkel's going to jump back here out of the way. A little bit of latency there for Schenkel. We saw in that shot Selena Thompson going by on the outside lane, and right as we saw that, huge problems there for Selena Thompson and company. Bad bump, putting cars in the wall, and everyone's have to try to get up to speed here pretty quickly. This is 23 of Richard Gonzalez, who's also crashed as well. This Josh came in the 61. Running a throwback livery, that Castrol Toyota Camry. He's going to pull off here. Tony Burt coming out on track now, the number 4 machine. As everything gets ready to go here. we're just going to actually come down pit lane or come off the track here. A lot of cars sitting now on the apron. There is Angel Santiago. Not sure what the issue is with that name glitch there. Santiago in the 90. There's Alyssa Peltier Sharp in the 18 getting on track now. Number 18 rolling around at the moment. More drivers on pit lane than not. One driver that is out on track is Alfred Denny in the 21. Very familiar scheme for those that watch HTL Cup Series competition or the HTL Truck Series. He's run a similar livery in both those competitions. Jurassic Park on that 21 machine. He's 26th fastest running on his own right now. There is Chris Pindell in the number 6 machine. A little bit of a throwback there for the number 6 car of Pindell. As more and more drivers join in, Pindell, James Wright, Caleb Carter, and Callie Height join in. That will give us 30 cars for tonight's season opener event. For everyone tuning in here on ABN1, we appreciate you tuning in for the start of the HTL National Series season. Live from Daytona, part of an action-packed week here on the high banks at the World Center of Racing. Qualifying less than 10 minutes away, so we'll see who gets the first pole position of 2024 in the HTL National Series. Teammates working together here, Pindell and Denny. Tandems we've seen be very potent and powerful. They've both gained a little bit of speed, trying to get things figured out here. Those 4 Mustangs trying to put things together. It's a Ford and a Chevrolet leading the leaderboards at the moment. Chris Justice in that 14 Ford and David Duran Jr. in the number 24 Chevrolet. Josh Gaiman 3rd, Josh Sosi in 4th, Jeremy Bailey, new to ABN screens in 5th, Tony Burton 6th, then it's Lena Thompson, Mark Parker, Stephen Oberstadt, Kevin Gibney, top 10 here tonight. Phenomenal stuff here so far. Top 5 as they currently sit at the moment. Practice times, practice laps all over the place. But it's Chris Justice that leads the way as we get things started. And we're right on board here. With Chris Pindell crossing the line here. Still 23rd fastest, 199 miles an hour entering turn 1. These cars carrying the speed here at Daytona. Faster than what we see the 7th gen cars we see on Monday night's run at the moment. Cars are booking. Just 2 cars almost touching 200 miles an hour. That's actually going to be pretty helpful here as well. Lane there for Chris Pindell. Most drivers returning to pit lane here. Very, very busy night tonight. There's Pendel. You see a lot of drivers on pit lane. There's Peltier Sharp rolling through pit lane now. Again, we're looking at 31 cars. The addition of Blake Henderson to the grid as well to kick things off here at Daytona. We're 6 minutes away from qualifying here, the Volusia County 200 here on ABN Esports 1. Extended wide open coverage of the HTL National Series to kick things off here tonight. We're going to step aside here, take a refreshment break. When we come back, the final moments before qualifying begins. Driver meeting underway now for the HTL National Series. All drivers listening in for the final commands before the race gets underway. Two minutes left here in practice at the Daytona International Speedway before qualifying for the season opener for the HTL National Series here on ABN 1. For everyone tuning in, we appreciate you spending your time with us here on either ABN 1 or ABN 2. The first of a very busy weekend here tonight. Looking at Blake Henderson, Angel Santiago, John Bowaldo III. All three of these cars working together at the moment, trying to build up some chemistry. There's the 25 and the 21. And the 50. There's James Wright there in the 50 car. So a decent group here put together in the final moments of practice. Henderson trying to practice a move there on Bowaldo. Ended up being hung out to dry there by Bowaldo, Santiago, and Denny. Justice and Durand still top of the board. Chris Justice and David Durand right now top of the board there. For those that are sort of jumping back and forth between ABN 1 and ABN 2, Winstall 400 qualifying has concluded with Parker Alexander claiming his first Winstall 400 pole position. Alec Martinez will be on the front row with him for Sunday's big event. Bunch of cars to qualify for pole position, and it's a new front row with Alexander and Martinez claiming those positions. Those tuned into ABN 2 will join ABN 1 shortly for this season opening round of the HTL National Series here on ABN Esports 1, the first of 10 races in this season. As time concludes in practice, it's time for qualifying here at Daytona. And now we're going to figure out who's got it out of 31 cars. Who's going to have it the most here tonight? Let's see who all runs out on track first. It looks like it is going to be Selena Thompson that is the first one out. Selena Thompson right now in that number 12 machine will be the first car out. A lot of cars coming out though at the same time. Morris, Denny, Jones, Eichler, Hagen, Shangle, Balzer, Buwalda, Barnes, Wright, and Sasek all on track now to kick off qualifying here at Daytona for the HTL National Series. Sienna Thompson on her lap now. Gonna be showtime here in Daytona. As we get ready to go. Selena Thompson coming to the start-finish line will be the first one to set a lap time. What's the benchmark going to be for Selena Thompson? A 47.45, immediately beaten and bested by John Hagen. As we get ready to go here tonight. Selena Thompson dropping to third, though. We'll drop down a little bit further. Josh Kamen was one of the quick ones in practice as well. What can he do in that 61 machine? For everyone tuning in from ABN Esports 2, Winstall 400 qualifying concluded with Parker Alexander taking his first pole position for the Winstall 400, locking himself into the race. Qualifying underway now for the HTL National Series here at Daytona. Pretty seamless how things have gone there. Callie Height has gone provisional pole, looking for her first ever pole position in HTL competition. Does it happen here at the World Center of Racing? That is the magical question now. Josh Sosi, though, running, gonna try to crush his teammates' hopes and dreams of a pole position at Daytona. Still a lot of cars left to run. Tony Burt, David Duran Jr., who was second in practice. Chris Pendel, Richard Gonzalez, Sosi, who's on your screen now. Santiago, Chris Justice, who was the fastest in practice. Business is picking up here at Daytona. What can Josh Sosi do? He's starting his lap now. Callie Height, surviving the onslaught, has bested John Hagan to the front row. John McIntyre a little bit short as well. Connor Morris on row 2. Josh Sosi, the mailman in HTL Cup Series competition. One of 3 drivers with 3 wins in the Cup Series. Trying to kick off this 10-race season with momentum on his side. Santiago goes 12th fastest. Where does Sosi go? The 81 Napa machine. Sosi across the line. 4th fastest. He cannot knock Callie Height off pole. Chris Justice does. Callie Height will stay front row, but will not be on pole. Wow. Crazy stuff there. Callie Height, best qualifying position in the HTL competition to date for the number 3 car with Callie Height behind the wheel. Crazy stuff here tonight. Again, for everyone joining us here on ABN Esports 1, it's HTL National Series Racing, the Volusia County 200 here at Daytona. The first of 10 races in this season using the 2021 Gen 6 machines. We've already seen speeds above 200 miles an hour here tonight. Now it's time to get serious about it. 32 cars set to take part in tonight's event. Starting grid on your screen as they get ready to roll. It's Chris Justice. First time on ABN screens. He'll start first alongside Callie Height. Row 2, you'll see a couple of familiar names. John Hagan, winner in the HTL Truck Series, and a HTL Cup Series playoff driver, John McIntyre, who's been part-time in HTL competition throughout 2023. He'll start in 4th. Row 3, Josh Sosi and Connor Morris, teammates there in row 3. Lady Liberty Motorsports doing fantastic. 3 cars in the top 6. They'll be able to work together pretty quickly to make things happen. Morris in 6, Sosi in the top 5 at the start here. Row 4, Selena Thompson did magic here back at the beginning of the HTL Cup Series season. She'll try to do it again here tonight. Josh Gaiman alongside of her in that 61. Toyota having one representative in the top 10. Row 5, it's both Fords, Alfred Denny and Blake Henderson, looking to make things happen at a track that has been kind to them through their past. Row 6, John Buwalda makes his return to ABN screens for the first time in 8 months. He'll start in 11th place alongside James Wright, the team owner for Stepping Stone Motorsports. Stepping Stone has blossomed into a huge effort. James Wright, the mastermind behind that effort, going to try to do well in a part-time appearance here in the National Series. He starts in 12th. Row 7, 13th and 14th on the grid, Eli Sasek, and then it says Butterknife. I think that's a nickname for Angel Santiago. They're in row 7. Santiago looking to make some moves happen. He's had bad luck plague his seasons in the Cup Series and the HTL Truck Series on Monday and Tuesday nights. Does Friday treat him better? We'll find out here tonight. Mark Parkhurst and David Durand in row number 8. Durand and Chris Justice, they work together really well in practice, but they're far apart here on the starting grid. Justice on the front row on pole position, Durand down in the 16th position. Jeremy Bailey and Richard Odie sitting in row 9. That's 17th and 18th on the grid. Bailey, his first appearance on ABN television. Richard Ode doing a fantastic job in the Truck Series, looking to make some headway here in the National Series as well at Daytona. Row 10, the top 20 is marked by Rhett Balzer and Harold Barnes. The 94 and the 83 make up the top 20. As we look further down, Olivia Hammond and Steven Oberstadt in row 11. Oberstadt looking to make some moves happen. Has been successful in these play tracks before. We'll have to do it from further in the field. Same with Lily Baltier-Sharp and Caleb Eichler. They are in row number 12. Shangle and Jones in row 13. Row 14 is Kevin Gibney Jr. and Tony Burt. Top 30 marked by Austin Mongold and Caleb Carter. In the last row of the grid is Chris Pendell and Richard Gonzalez. One more lap of formation here at Daytona to kick things off for the season. We're glad you're with us for an amazing show here tonight. It's HTL National Series competition. The first of 10 races this season to kick off Super Bowl weekend of sorts on ABN. Again, for those that are jumping in from Winstall 400 qualifying, we appreciate you jumping in and being with us all night long. We have some racing to do, 80 laps, 200 miles here tonight. The warm-up, the calm before the storm, will be disrupted. Again, 32 cars on track here tonight. Chris Justice, Callie Height, John Hagan, John McIntyre, John Sosi, and Connor Morris, the top 6. As you see those cars come down the back straightaway. Lights on, the pace car turned off, which means we're about to go racing. Formation laps build up the anticipation, the anxiety. Again, wide open coverage of the HTL National Series, the Volusia County 200. Set to be underway here on ABN Esports 1. If you've not seen HTL competition before, if you've not been with us here on ABN, welcome to the show. Whether you've been with us for the last 3 years or you're joining us tonight, it's going to be a blast. The Prelude, the Winstall 400, with some HTL flair attached to it. Chris Justice, new to ABN screens on pole position. Callie Height, a driver many familiar with throughout the ABN community and abroad. On the front row, pace car in pit lane. Green flag is in the air. The Volusia County 200 is underway. We're racing at Daytona. First 5 miles in the books. 2 laps completed. Justice and Hagan lead the way on that inside lane. Alfred Denny on the outside lane, trying to make some progress. You're right on board with Blake Henderson. He was second on the outside lane at the moment, trying to make some inroads happen. You see a little bit of a breakaway between the lead pack and a secondary pack. Taking it easy here. This is a long race with no stage breaks in the race. Just like in the HTL Truck Series, green flag, you go. You do not go to a stage number as Denny gets turned. And caution's going to come out for the first time tonight, and that's a huge incident. Huge crash early on. Alfred Denny turned off the nose of Blake Henderson and down in front of Chris Justice. And everyone just trying to find their way through. That was what the secondary group was worried about, and they found it. For Alfred Denny, that is a huge amount of trouble and a lot of damage on that Jurassic Park Ford Mustang. Fortunate there. Huge crash on the opening laps. Nerves and anxiety for such a power-packed weekend. All comes to a head here. And a lot of cars involved in this incident. Let's go back and look at it here. Obviously a huge amount of contact in this incident. And you see where the incident's already really started here. We have to scroll even further back here, and you're going to see the slow motion there. You can already see from this camera angle, Blake Henderson, that 25, that blue car on the inside lane, he's going to peek to the left of Alfred Denny and draw contact there. And that's the worst thing you want to do. You want to be leaning on the right-hand side a little bit. You don't want to be that far left, surely. Grabs just enough of that quarter panel of Alfred Denny's machine to pull him right in front of the 14 of Chris Justice. Denny tries to save it, but then you have an entire track blocker. The 14 turned around backwards, nowhere for him to go. Looks like Callie Hike gets away pretty well unscathed there. But you see how quickly the track blocks up on the exit of turn 4. Just an absolute disaster, and for Alfred Denny, it's a wild ride. Taking shot after shot after shot before coming to a stop there on the exit of turn 4. Cars in pit lane at the moment. It'll end up being Blake Henderson in the lead of this race. Everyone tuning in here, we appreciate you spending your time with us here on ABN Esports 1, the first race of 10. Using these Gen 6 cars for the HTL National Series, Blake Henderson leads the way. Connor Morris, Callie Hite, top 3. Then it's Caleb Eichler, Steven Overstad, and Angel Santiago in the top 6 at the moment as things run. Obviously Henderson not meaning to turn Alfred Denny, one of his close friends there. But it sets the stage for an early restart here at Daytona. Huge shakeup there. Biggest gainer so far out of that would be, it's a tie between Caleb Eichler and Chris Pendel. Both of them have gained 20 spots. Thanks in part to that incident. Eichler in 4th, Chris Pendel in 11th. See, there's the 8 of Connor Morris running a space-themed car, the NASA number 8. As the light turns out on that Ford Mustang pace car, it's a Mustang leading the way, then a pretty decent handful of Chevrolets and Toyotas getting ready to move here. Everyone getting ready to go once again. Second attempt to start this race off. First one, we got a couple laps in. We got 3 laps in. Last time HTL was at Daytona, it was the Firecracker 250. Inarguably the best race HTL's ever put on at Daytona. Obviously a lot of new faces in this series. A lot of drivers we've not seen before, a lot of drivers that have not been in HTL competition to this level before. 32 cars. All got to gel together and work together to make a race happen. It's time to see him put in some work. Henderson, Morris, Height, Eichler top 4, Santiago 5th, Jeremy Bailey in 6th. Then it's James Jones, Eli Sasek, Lily Sharp, Chris Pindell top 10. As we get ready to go. 32 cars set to do action. We're on lap 6 of 80, coming to 74 laps to go. Only one car one lap down. It's the 24 of David Duran. Pace car pulls off on the pit lane through the restart zone. Green flag back in the air, and away we go. Morris with no help. He'll drop backwards here. He's gonna have to try to slot in behind Santiago, and he does. But right in front of James Jones, he was not one to play ball there. Running aboard there with Connor Morris. Sitting right now in the 4th position. He'll move to the outside lane of Santiago. His teammate, Kelly Height, in front of him now. Height thinking about moving up. Has the space to play around with both lanes of traffic. See, looking back there through Connor Morris, you see all the traffic behind the 8 machine of Morris. Got to stay calm and composed here at Daytona. Inside lane has a little bit of an advantage. Morris now level with Peltier Sharp, the 18 car, trying to take 4th away from the 8 machine. The 31 of Kevin Gibney Jr., 5th in line on the inside lane as well. Morris has help from the 45 of James Jones. As process begins once again to try to break away and make some magic happen here at Daytona. Henderson leads over Height and Santiago. As things move on so far, outside lane beginning to develop momentum with Morris leading the way. Jones in 2nd. And I believe that's the 85 of John Hagan on the outside lane, 3rd in line. Eichler in the 99 and 4th on that outside lane. And they're going to have a lot of momentum out of turn 2 here. New race leader, can he hold on to it? Connor Morris with James Jones and John Hagan all clearing Blake Henderson and moving straight to the bottom. Now it's Eichler leading the outside lane, and they've got to regenerate that momentum. And that's going to be a little bit harder to do with the 99 having to rely on the 32 that's having some latency issues on that outside lane. Sasek on the outside lane as well as Josh Kamen. But it's Connor Morris leading the way now, new race leader here at Daytona. Morris, Jones, Hagan, Henderson, and Height, top 5. Reminder, there's no playoffs, there's no chase format for this 10-race season. Each race matters. You got to start off on the right foot here at Daytona. Race where everyone's got just about the most level footing you can have to kick things off. Morris right now leading the way. Youngest winner in HTL's history. Won the charity race in New Smyrna to kick off the HTL Cup Series season. Trying to win a points race for the first time. That's next on his checkbox. See if he can do it. Jones in second, up 24 spots from where he started this race. He's climbed rapidly in the opening 12 laps of this event. And it's a topsy-turvy calendar, these 10 races. Obviously, Daytona tonight. We had the Darlington next week. Then a Chicagoland, Watkins Glen in Kentucky the first half of the season. Decent mixture of tracks. There are a couple of intermediates. Obviously, the Super Speedway race here at Daytona. Road course of Watkins Glen, and then obviously Darlington, which is a race all of its own. Outside lane beginning to generate momentum once more. Cali Heights moved to that outside lane. I believe that's Kevin Gibney in tow. Teammates there for Lady Liberty Motorsports trying to join their race leader teammate. 4 cars for Lady Liberty Motorsports, the 8, the 30, the 31, and the 81. All running in this race. 4-car effort. Yeah, outside lane though, not getting quite put together here behind Cali Height. Gonna take a little bit more time to get gelled together there. It's Height, Gibney, and Eichler, the 99. Eichler filling in for Dylan McDonald on that outside lane. Everything moving now at pace. Checking off that lap 3 caution. Everyone's had a chance to shake off that anxiety, shake off the nerves. Find that precision that you need to be so good here at Daytona. Outside lane still looking for a little bit of that momentum to try to build up a little bit. A little bit of side drafting going on there between Height and Gibney, and then the inside lane there, that was Santiago that they were trying to side draft off of. Santiago and Pelletier Sharp. Looks like one car officially out of this race. Jacob Shangle has pulled up behind the wall. And you see a little bit further back, beyond 19th place Olivia Hammond, you have John Bawada leading the second line of drivers, taking it easy here in the opening laps. They're anticipating another caution, and they're anticipating needing to work together to build it back up here after these first round of pit stops. I think that's the aim everyone right now is trying to hit, is that first round of pit stops under green. Everyone had a chance to fill up and extend that window by a few laps under caution for the first time. But now we're at it en masse. Outside lane slowly chipping away at this. Cali Heights back in the top 5, edging just out of Santiago, pulling level with Henderson here. Obviously, the inside lane's going to pull back ahead here on the inside through 3 and 4. But they're finding their rhythm here a little bit. It's a game of inches on the outside lane right now. But still a lot of time to find the ebb and flow that they need to work together on that inside lane. Outside lane struggling just a little bit more. Santiago's gotten clear for 5th, so he can now move forward, move ahead, and move up into the outside lane if he wants to. I have a feeling he's pretty content staying on the inside lane, though, at the moment. That's the safe lane to be in. Especially if he can stay clear of that outside lane, which he's doing right now. Santiago clear. Pelletier Sharp would like to do the same thing. Pelletier Sharp drifting up a little bit to side drafting, pull Cali Height back. There's the 14, the pole sitter of Chris Justice, back in the top 10 as well. Henderson, a little bit of latency there. is going to check up Santiago and put him right back side by side with Cali Height. Good look on board with Kevin Gibney at the moment. Running on board. Going to touch 200 with ease down the back straightaway. Even having to check out for Cali at the bump draft. 204, 205, 206. Entering turn number 3. And you could hear he had to feather the throttle. He had to get out of it a little bit to make sure he didn't wreck his teammate there on the inside lane. That the inside lane is still going strong there at the moment. You saw them pull ahead. The 18 Peltier Sharp back level with Height. Chris Justice, the pole sitter, side by side with Gibney. You have a good shot at all of that right now, running on board with Gibney, the 31 machine. Right now, everyone trying to work together and trying to figure out. Whoa, almost trouble for Cali Height. Kevin Gibney staying pretty well steady, but that was almost a disaster between teammates there. Gibney on board, trying to side draft there. Chris Justice to his inside lane, trying to stay and work. You see the nose of Chris Justice there. Still trying to side draft, trying to break up that inside line a little bit. Cali Height trying to pull back Santiago and Peltier Sharp from Henderson. Last 6 lap there for Kevin Gibney Jr. Just what does that ebb and flow look like? It's about half a second. Closest they got was lap 15, 0.3 of a second. But now the inside lane is pretty well holding station. We'll see what this lap looks like. But right now, pretty good indicator there with where Kevin Gibney's at the moment. Side drafting hard on Santiago. Pull Santiago back like a parachute. While Cali Height does the same thing to Henderson. And now they'll work together out of 4. Really rough bump there for Cali Height. Thought about moving to the inside lane. Will not do so, but will side draft religiously to try to pull back to Hagan, and they will be successful in that process. But now Gibney's being side drafted by Santiago. Really good stuff at the moment. Kevin Gibney Jr. trying to work with his teammate there, and you see the side drafting get a little bit more severe. That's the 81 of Josh Susi in the middle, 3 wide now. And that is not what the teammates wanted to see there. That's the 4th Lady Liberty Motorsports machine. Now forced in the middle of a 3 wide situation. Now it's Gaiman in that 3 wide situation. The 61 car, that throwback Castrol Toyota. Dropping backwards further and further in the middle of the 32 of Jeremy Bailey and the 6 of Chris Pindell. And this is Gaiman in 16th place, still side by side with Pindell. Still side by side, a little bit of contact, a little bit of fender rubbing between the 6 and the 61. Still side by side, 3 wide, as they've side drafted each other out of the draft of the lead pack. Caleb Eichler, the tail end of the lead pack, has pulled away by a significant margin. And now we have 3 distinct packs. As cars coming in, Eichler's one of them, Hagan and Morse also in. That's the front of the field coming in there. New race leader is James Jones. As work begins on the first round of green flag pit stops on lap 23. 3 cars came in, Morris, Hagan, and Eichler. James Jones leads the way, the 45. Ahead of Blake Henderson, Santiago in 3rd, Peltier Sharp in 4th, the 5th, pole sitter Chris Justice. And in comes a way larger size of the field. Everyone fanning out, trying to make something happen. Trouble! Sosi, Santiago, Height, and Jones all involved. It's a huge mess in pit entry. All started by Jones being turned. Approaching pit entry, 4 into 2 do not work, and that was what they were trying to do, go from 4 to 2 lanes in that approach, and it did not work. Chris Justice now leads. He was the only driver in the lead pack that did not come in. So he's going to lose some time to this group here, now being led by Jeremy Bailey, but he's going to gain substantially on everyone that was around him entering pit lane that last lap. Huge ordeal there on pit lane, as now we have more drivers coming in. Sienna Thompson, Steven Oberstadt, and Austin Mongold will stay out here. As you see the grass and the dust on the front straightaway from where those drivers missed pit stops, missed pit lane. 3 drivers now together. They're going to try to trio in tandem around this extra lap. Thompson will lead the lap though. Oberstadt in the 88 in second, Austin Mongold in third. 2 Fords and a Chevrolet in this top 3 at the moment as pit stops cycle through. Hagan and Morris should be the drivers that inherit the lead again, with Blake Henderson, Kevin Gibney, and Lily Peltier Sharp close to that range as well. And here comes the leading trio down pit lane now. Sienna Thompson in pit lane. And we'll pivot over to Blake. It's a John Hagan. As drivers come out of pit lane, Hagan's going to lead Connor Morris. But again, they will inherit the race lead here when they come back around start-finish line to start lap 27 here in Daytona. Messy first round of green flag pit stops, but they stayed green throughout it. Only 1 caution so far in this race on lap 3 for 3 laps worth of pacing. There's your race leader now, John Hagan. Everyone's cycling out there. You see leaving pit lane now, Sienna Thompson and company. The ones that stayed up the longest will drop the furthest. Hagan, Morris, Henderson top 3. You see this trio in your screen. Gibney in 4th, and then you have another little group here with Gibney, Sasek, Sharp, and Gaiman. Laps ticking away here quickly though. Everyone was worried that the first 3 laps would be an ode of things to come, but it's really not been. Messy pit stop there, but green flag racing still, and now the race is spread out a little bit. Josh Gaiman on his own now, 6th in line here. See right now he's setting 204, 205 miles an hour. He'll touch 206 easily entering turn 1. Actually ended up getting closer to 210 miles an hour before checking up behind Eli Sasek. Single file line for the first 6 cars, a lap car in between. I believe that is the 81 of Susie. I believe. Have to make our way forward here in just a second. Sasek. This is the 42 car that we're seeing off the lead lap. The 42, that is Mark Parkhurst off the lead lap at the moment. Actually, I don't know if that was accurate or not. There's Gaiman. It's Olivia Hammond, the 48, not the 42. But Hammond dropped out of the way of the leaders here. Kevin Gibney on the outside lane. Gonna side draft and make contact with Henderson. Sasek's got a good look at it. As Gibney falls backwards now, he'll drop down to 6th. Down to 6 drivers contending for this race win at the moment. After 1 round of green flag pit stops. Coming to complete lap 30 of 80 here in the Volusia County 200. It's been a very fun night so far. On Avian 2, we kicked off the night with Winston 400 pole qualifying. Parker Alexander and Alec Martinez locked themselves into the front row for the great race on Sunday. And now we've got the Volusia County 200, the HTL National Series, enjoying themselves in full here tonight. Seeing a race very reminiscent of the Firecracker that we saw a few weeks ago in the Cup Series. The second tier series, sort of reminiscent of what the Xfinity Series is for HTL. Seeing very similar results happening. An early caution did not deter this field, and now we're seeing strategy and playing out in full here tonight. A little bit further down the order, you'll see a second group here. Chris Pendell leads this group here. This is the group that was affected by that calamity entering pit lane when the 45 of James Jones got turned. Pendell, height, the 24 of David Durant Jr., the 42 of Mark Parkhurst, Lily Peltier Sharp, all in this group. Josh Sosi, one of those that was the most negatively affected by that incident on pit lane, a lap down in this group as well. And the second car a lap down. The first car a lap down is the 48 of Olivia Hammond at the moment. So a little bit of work to do for this group, especially if Josh Sosi's free pass battle is to be a concern. At the front of the field, it's Sean Hagan still leading the way. Morris, Henderson, Sasek, and Gaiman not too keen on challenging when they can save fuel, which is exactly what they're doing right now. And then another little 2-car tandem here. Richard Gonzalez working with Chris Justice. And I believe that's the 45 of James Jones as well. It is that third car in line that's working a lap down as well. Then another group further back. Harold Barnes leading this larger single file line. It's Barnes, Balzer, Bailey, Denny, Oberstadt, Thompson, Mongold, Ode, then James Wright and John Buwalda. All working together here. And for those just now tuning in to ABN Esports 1's coverage of the HTL National Series, the Volusia County 200, I'm Carmen Sienna. We appreciate everyone spending your time with us here for a very fun night, the first night of racing here at Daytona of 3 nights in a row. We're happy to have you all with us here tonight. I know, looking at Harold Barnes, 13th place for him at the moment. Carmen Morris behind the 85 of John Hagan as things currently run. A lot of cars running around on track at the moment. So everyone works together here. And then new car 1 lap down. It's the Ford, Tony Burt, 25th place at the moment. 24 cars on the lead lap. John McIntyre in the 2. The next car to go a lap down here momentarily. As things run right now. We've had 1 caution on lap 3. It's been good to go ever since. Calamity on pit lane did not draw a caution. McIntyre gets below the yellow line. We'll let the leaders go through here. Good sportsmanlike conduct there by McIntyre. Didn't need to, could have easily just gone high. Decided to go low there. Second line of cars being led by Chris Bendel, closing in on this lead group just in time for another round of pit stops to take place here in about 10 laps. It's been a wild night, wide open coverage here of the HTL National Series here on ABN. We're going to ride on board with the second place driver, Connor Morris, looking for his first points win in an HTL competition. He's following John Hagan, who's got several in the Truck Series. Everyone looking to start off the season pretty well here at Daytona. Welcome back, everyone. Racing at Daytona, running aboard with Callie Height, who's moved up to second place behind Chris Pindell, with pit stops on the horizon here at Daytona. A little bit of frantic racing going on at the moment. Sasek now leading the outside lane, trying to go to the front of the field with help. The 4-car trying to get that free pass position, almost turned the 9. That was almost a disaster. Tony Burton is trying to get back on the lead lap here in case the caution does come out. He saw what the pit entry was like before as some cars come down pit lane. Hagan, Morris, Sharp, Parkhurst, Eichler, and Hammond all down pit lane at the moment. Sasek leads the way. At the moment, as things currently stand, it's Henderson and Sasek that lead the way. More pit stops incoming. Henderson, Sosi, Height, and Gibney stay out. 4 cars in this group. As cars come out of pit lane there. Second green flag pit stop cycle going on here tonight. We'll have one more green flag pit stop cycle as things currently stand. We'll have one more green flag pit stop cycle in this race. In comes the race leaders. Trying to come down in there clean, small group of cars here. Henderson spins! And Gibney almost got into him. They'll slow Gibney down a little bit. Henderson locked it up the rear brakes. Huge issue there for Henderson. And that's going to throw him basically out of contention here. A lot of cars coming down. Gaiman, Pindell, Sharp, Parkhurst, and Hagan all now on the charge. We have a chance now. We're in the second half of this race. For those that are joining in, obviously a lot of plate racing we see here on ABN screens, whether it's ARCS, HTL, obviously with Winstel, the newest partner for us here. Plate racing can be a mixed bag depending on the crowd you have. This is the 3rd straight race at Daytona in HTL that has been phenomenal so far. Obviously, knock on wood, knock on your wooden desk, knock on your door, wood window frame, whatever you have to avoid jinxing that. And speaking of the devil, there's the yellow. But up until that point, it was pretty well clear, and it's John McIntyre, it looks like, that's had an issue. Either that or Tony Burt. One of those 2 cars, either the 2 or the 4, and I don't think we're going to have a really good shot on the replay here. It's going to be one of the 2. Caution's already out by the time that McIntyre. So it's not McIntyre. It's got to be the 4 Tony Burt. We just don't know what it is that's caused the 4 car to have an issue. Well out of our viewing range here. But it seems like it's a single car incident at the moment. So second caution of the night. Commentator's curse in effect there, but second caution of the night here. For those that are used to officials in iRacing, not used to seeing 2 cautions in almost 50 laps. And typically there's 5 or 6. Importantly, this does not change the strategy game at all for these drivers. there is still a guaranteed pit stop. It doesn't matter if they stop here for fuel or not. There is a guaranteed pit stop in this race. It looks like a decent amount of the field will come in. Almost 50-50. Looks like a lot of the front runners will stay out here, minus Chris Pindell. So it'll end up being Lily Peltier-Sharp in the race lead here. Free pass, I believe, was taken by Olivia Hammond. So Hammond's back on the lead lap. 24 cars on the lead lap was how we will see things out here for the second restart tonight. It'll be Peltier-Sharp, Mark Parkhurst, John Hagan, Callie Height, and Kevin Gibney, the top 5. Top 5 here at the 48 laps. A lot of racing to go here at Daytona. We're going to step aside. Non-stop coverage here, wide open coverage of the HTL National Series. Continues here on AV Sports 1. We're going to take a second to take a hydration break and get ready for the next 30 laps of racing here at Daytona. Getting ready for the restart. Peltier-Sharp chose the outside lane. Mark Parkhurst to the inside of row number 1 for this restart. Still a lot of racing to go here at Daytona. So everything gets underway here. Peltier-Sharp leads the way over Parkhurst, Callie Height, John Hagan, Eli Sasek, Kevin Gibney, Blake Henderson, Connor Morris, Caleb Eichler, and Rhett Balzer. We've not said Balzer's name much. That 94 car in the top 10 at the moment as things currently run. For those just now tuning in to ABN 1 for your coverage of the Volusia County 200, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank y'all so much for joining us for a fantastic weekend of racing. Got a lot more coming. The E83 Flying Machine duels at Daytona coming up tomorrow. And then the Winstel 400, the 12th annual running of the race on Sunday. A lot of racing this weekend. And then the HTL Cup Series playoffs begins on Monday at Darlington. Racing does not stop here on ABN. We're getting a constant stretch of activity here in January to kick off the 2024 racing season. It's Lily Peltier-Sharp and Mark Parkhurst front of the field coming to the second restart of the race. There'll be 30 laps to go in this race, 24 cars on the lead lap. Through the restart zone, we're back underway, racing at Daytona. And it's a fantastic start by Peltier-Sharp, who gets right ahead of Parkhurst, her teammate there. Leaves Callie Height out to dry. Parkhurst, though, didn't get a great start either. Gonna have a decent run of momentum now. Teammates try to hook up at the front of the field. Height has to rely on Sasek and Blake Henderson. Reminder, there is still a green flag set of pit stops needing to happen You can only go 23 to 26 laps. Right now, they're on 30 to go. They are well shy. And some of them did not come down to pit lane. So they are confirmed having to come down for one more stop unless another caution comes out within 25 to go. Never say never here at Daytona. Callie led that lap and immediately got squirrely on the nose of Eli Stasek. You want to talk about white knuckling the car? Callie holding on for dear life, gripping that steering wheel as tight as possible to the tri-oval. Stasek trying to push both the 3 and the 9 clear. Henderson third in line to keep it on the 99 of Eichler. Filling in for Dylan McDonald. Stasek did what he wanted to do. He got clear of Peltier Sharp. Everything 6 active so far. Height leads the way. Stasek, Peltier Sharp, top 3. That's your podium as it sits right now. Parker side by side with Henderson. That's for 4th and 5th. Three wide now. Henderson dropping like a stone. Just bounced off of Eichler. That was scary. But you see how much it's held up that outside line. Trouble! That is the 61 of Josh Gaiman turned. Alfred Denny involved once again, and that could be race over for Denny. And now, as they say, the championship rounds have commenced, if this was a heavyweight fight. And now the slugfest begins. Huge impact there. Now we're going to go back and look at it. A lot of cars wounded here once again. We've not had many incidents, but those that we've had have been massive. We're going to look at the blimp cam and see what happens here. This is the 32 of Jeremy Bailey. Tries to get away from the back of Alfred Denny and just try shooting the gap that had not yet opened. All 3 of them involved. That is the 6 of Pendel getting on the inside lane there. And everyone just trying to find their way through. The 14, Chris Justice. Another incident there for the 14 machine. And he's going to tag the wall here. A little bit of damage there on that 14 machine. Looks like he gets away with it relatively unharmed, given how nasty that could have been for the 14 machine. Still a little bit of damage on that car that's already had to use a fast repair. Overall, could be way, way worse for the 14 machine, who will stay in it here. And this will reset the field pretty well and truly now. To come down in here to try to make their last pit stop on fuel. You see a lot of cars carrying damage at the moment. There's 61. As everyone tries to make their way through pit lane here. And that is Eli Stasek that just missed his pit box there. The number 9 just missed his box. Missed his box massively. Third caution of the night here at Daytona. For an incident started by Jeremy Bailey when he tagged the quarter panel of Josh Gaiman. Kelly Height leads the way with Kevin Gibney. Teammates there for Lady Liberty Motorsports, 1st and 2nd. You know, we spoke about drivers we haven't spoken about much in this race. Rhett Balzer, the 94, now in 3rd place. Do we have a closer in the HTL National Series? 1 round in, looks pretty good. Cars coming down pit lane there for more repairs. Trying to make things happen here. It'll be Height, Gibney, Balzer, Henderson, Pendel, Hagan, Morris, Sharp, Thompson, and Durand in the top 10. For those tuning in live here on AV and Esports 1, making predictions. Who do you think is going to win here at Daytona to kick off the HTL National Series season? Kelly Height, Kevin Gibney Jr. lead the way. Henderson and Balzer row 2. Hagan and Sharp row 3. Pendel, Morris row 4. Durand and Thompson row 5. 23 cars on the lead lap here tonight. Several cars now down and having to try to build their way back up here over the next 9 races here in the HTL National Series. Coming to 24 laps to go. Do the restart zone, we're underway. And Height does what we thought she was going to do, and that is work with her teammate, Kevin Gibney Jr. But Gibney did not get a great restart. Henderson did. Height will stay on the inside lane. Trying to help her teammate out. Balzer on the inside lane as well. Hagan and Henderson having to work together on the outside lane as we're back underway. Car dropping back on the inside lane below the yellow line. You cannot pass below the yellow line, but you can give up spots by going below the yellow line. Hagan cleared himself there off the nose of Height. Height was not willing to give it up, but Hagan forced his way through. Height's going to remember that here with a handful of laps to go. And it's about to get a lot more intense. Pendel, Pelletier, Sharp will now follow Henderson. And Henderson's going to get around Hagan with ease. So will Pendel. It'll put Pelletier Sharp leading that outside lane. If they move down, Henderson gets turned off the nose of Pendel. And Henderson did not save it. He's going to try to get back going and try to keep this car underway and under green, but it's going to be a caution here as he tries to get back going. And that's going to be trouble in the infield. David Durand, I think, may have gotten, I don't know if it was Durand or Pelletier Sharp. One of them got the lead under this caution. And it looks like it's Pelletier Sharp that got the lead here. Fourth caution of the night. This time it's on Blake Henderson after he got turned by Chris Pendel. We saw that happen live out of turn 2. Henderson will not go a lap down. It doesn't look like he had much damage, if any, but he may come down and get a fresh set of tires on this. Peltier, Sharp, Pindell, and then Durand in the 24, the top three. And this caution will take us into the last 20 laps of regulation here at Daytona. Fourth caution of the night for those keeping count. And this one, a lot less harmful than the first three. Single car incident, technically speaking. Chris Pindell turning Blake Henderson there on the back straightaway. Henderson did not make contact with any of the cars, did not make contact with the inside wall, but came to a stop and could not get rolling in time to avoid the caution being thrown. And now we sit with 21 laps to go. Peltier Sharp in position to try to win for the first time in HTL competition. But a lot of hungry drivers looking to do the exact same thing here tonight. Again, this is the second tier of the HTL stock car ladder. Next week we have the Darlington. Darlington week for all three series, for the Cup Series, the Truck Series, and the National Series. Here on ABN and its family of networks. All three races between the three series for HTL will be on ABN 1. We'll be right here. HTL Cup Series Monday 8 p.m. HTL Truck Series Tuesday 8:15 p.m. And we'll be right back here on Friday night for the HTL National Series from Darlington at 9 p.m. Of course, a lot of racing in the meantime. Tomorrow and Sunday, preparation for the Winstall 400 and the 400 itself. And then Wednesday, it's the last free Wednesday before we start getting into ABN Champ Car activity. Champ Car preseason testing is the 15th of January, Wednesday, January 15th at Chicagoland. Sorry, not the 15th. 17th of January. 15th is a Monday. Lights on the base car, which means we're coming to the fourth restart of this race. We had two green flag pit stops in a row. Went over 40 laps with the green flag run, but now everyone knows they can make it on fuel from here. So it's about to be a little bit more unhinged. Peltier, Sharp, and Parkhurst in the inside lane. Teammates there. Henderson. And Chris Justice on the outside lane in those front two rows. Row 3 is where you'll find Eli Sassick and Selena Thompson, Olivia Hammond, and Kayla Weichler share row 4. It's going to be a very, very busy restart here with less than 20 to go, coming to 19 laps to go. Is Peltier, Sharp, and John Hagan that'll lead the field to the fourth restart here. Thank you for everyone tuning in to ABN Esports 1. We welcome you to racing at the World Center of Racing at Daytona International Speedway. It's Sharp, Hagan, front of the field. as the pace car pulls down pit lane. Coming to 19 laps to go. Green flag back underway, and team coordination leads the way. And immediately it cautions out. And it looks like it might have been Richard Gonzalez. Back under caution immediately for the 5th time. And it is for an incident involving the 23 of Richard Gonzalez. We'll take a look, see what happens here to the 23 machine. He got run into. On that restart coming to the green. And the caution came out immediately. Peltier Sharp will hold on to the race lead. Hagan stays in 2nd place, with Parkhurst in 3rd. And they're going to rack it up and do it again. Everyone catching back up to the pace car as everyone gets ready to go here. It's Peltier Sharp leading the way over Parkhurst, over Hagan, over Justice and Sasek. Top 5 on your screen. Peltier, Sharp, Hagan, Parkhurst, Justice, and Sasek as they run at the moment. We're going to stand aside as we sit for the 5th caution of the night. Non-stop coverage of the HTL National Series Volusia County 200 continues here on ABN Esports 1. back underway. Coming to 15 laps to go. Lights on the pace car, which means we are coming to our 5th restart of the night with Peltier Sharp and John Hagan once again leading us to the green. Peltier Sharp had a really good restart. Parkhurst did not. Teammates there on the inside lane, the 18 and the 42. Now they have a chance to practice on what they've rehearsed. We'll see what they can do. It's not going to be easy, though. Hagan looking really good on the 85 car in the outside lane, leading the outside lane. Chris Justice, the pole sitter, has been involved in a couple incidents tonight, but he's back in the top 5, sitting 4th in the outside of row 2. Row 3 is Sasek and Thompson. Row 4, Eichler, and the 32 of Jeremy Bailey. Then Olivia Hammond and David Duran Jr. sit in row 5 to round out the top 10. A lot of cars still running in this race. A lot of cars still with a chance to try to win this race. Over 24 cars on the lead lap. Green flag back in the air. We're underway once again, and that was a better start for Parkhurst. Unfortunately, Parkhurst couldn't sustain it. And Hagan's going to be able to pick off Peltier Sharp with ease. The outside lane, way well put together. Hagan will blow by Peltier Sharp the entire top 6 on the outside lane. Manages to get through, but it was almost disaster. Bailey almost turned Selena Thompson. That would have been the 32 and the 12. 3 wide further behind. That is, I believe, Josh Gaiman in the middle of that 3 wide situation. Further on in the back. And trouble, 24 in the wall, caution's out for the 6th time. Actually, it's not out. The caution's not out for the 24 of David Durant. Somehow, no caution yet. Santiago Barnes also involved. Santiago, a lot of damage on his car. Still no yellow. They're going to race it back. Everyone's rolling once again. So the track is clear. Chris Justice led that lap. Morse wants to lead, though. Talk about a scornful no call by iRacing admins. It's an automated caution system in use, and it did not throw there. Very unusual. Outside lane has the advantage. Justice, Bailey, and Gibney on the outside lane. Height, 4th in line on the outside as well. Cars the inside lane. Still trying to get back to pit lane from that caution. Coming to 12 laps to go. It's Chris Justice, the pole sitter, leading the way. Justice, Bailey, Gibney, Morris, Height lead this top 5. It's a group of 15 cars in the running still. From Jeremy Bailey down to Josh Gaiman. And Justice just got tagged. And there they go. Trouble, Height. Turned around backwards, Justice in the wall hard. And I believe that's the 29 of Austin Mongold. It is. And they're both going to tow back out to pit lane. And there's the 6th caution of the night. Trouble on the back straightaway. And it was something that was brewing. And here's a bit of what it looked like. Contact between Chris Justice and Kevin Gibney, I do believe, is what sparks this whole happening. And we'll go back and look at it. We're actually going to see if we can get on board with Kevin Gibney here and try to get a good look at this. on board with Gibney. 14 a little bit too far forward. Gibney just gives them a huge shot there in the middle of 1 and 2. And right there on the exit as well, just hooks them a little bit too hard there. And then you see Justice there already in the wall. We're going to go back here and see exactly how bad this is because he tags the wall pretty hard. On board the 14. And he just gets completely turned. And obviously you can see his steering's bent from that point. Once he hits the wall, nothing he can significantly do about it. And obviously Austin Mongold pinned there as well. And Cali Height just drifting backwards. Just gets tagged there. A huge hit for the 3. I think the 3 thankfully has a fast repair available, so it's not day done for Cali Height. But for Chris Justice and Austin Mongold, it will be. You see Cali Height just kind of letting it all drift back, staying out of the way. Did a really good job of reversing there. Sixth caution of the night as we now sit on lap 70 of 80, coming to 10 laps to go. It's Jeremy Bailey leading the way over Connor Morris, John Hagan, Kevin Gibney, Selena Thompson, and Stephen Oberstadt in the top 5. Sitting under caution for the 6th time tonight for the HTL National Series season opener here at Daytona. The lights are on. The sun is fully set. It's dark out, but the sparks continue to fly here at Daytona. Jeremy Bailey looking to win the season opener. It will be his first HTL win if he can hold on to it. Connor Morris looking for his first points win in HTL. He's won a charity race. He is the youngest winner in HTL competition history. But looking to add a little bit more to that history. And he's got a little bit of help. Kevin Gibney, his teammate, his team boss, right behind him. Will give that outside lane a little bit of firepower. John Hagan to the inside lane, hungry as ever. Over-aggressiveness has been his undoing too many times in the Cup Series. Doesn't undo him here tonight. He's sitting 3rd on this restart. Selena Thompson and Stephen Oberstadt in row 3. They'll share that row together. And typically these races, it's feast or famine for those two. We'll see if it's feast or famine for them tonight. Lily Peltier Sharp didn't have a great run. Didn't have a lot of help on that last restart. But now sits with the ability to sort of decide who wears the crown on this restart. Sitting in row 4 alongside Blake Henderson, who knows how to be successful at Daytona, won the ABN Daytona 300 last May. Running out the top 10, Mark Parkhurst and Eli Sasek. We'll see what they can do in row 5. 9th and 10th respectively there. Also keep an eye on rows 6 and 7. Josh Gaiman in 12th, Josh Sosi in 13th. Keep an eye on both of them as they try to make their way forward. They have nothing to lose. They've lost their fast repair early, and they're still in contention here at Daytona, coming to 8 laps to go when we go back green. We'll see what happens here at Daytona. But it's got all eyes right now on Jeremy Bailey and Connor Morse. 21 cars on the lead lap here tonight. As we get ready to go. His car is off. Green flag is back in the air. Jeremy Bailey leads us underway. And he got a really good launch on it. 8 laps to go. All to play for. Lady Liberty Motorsports, their drivers move fourth, third, and fourth in front of Selena Thompson. Hagan now looks for the race lead. Morse goes. Gibney does not. He's going to go late and check up. Believe that was Stephen Oberstedt in the 88 that he checked up big time. It was. And Blake Henderson had to jump on the brakes. Coming to 7 laps to go. We're about to reach the do-or-die stage in this race. Hagan leads on the outside lane. Morris leads the inside lane. He's third, trying with a help from Stephen Oberstedt. You see the sparks flying. Car is still nose to tail. Approaching the final 6 laps of this race. A lot of momentum on the inside lane in favor of Morris and Oberstedt. Oberstedt knows what it's like to be successful at Daytona. Morris looking for his first taste of success here at Daytona Beach. For Hagan, this will be his highest profile win in HTL competition if he can hold on to it. Gibney looking for his first win in HTL competition since 2022. Over 18 months since he's last been to victory lane. Same with Henderson. Henderson last won season 2 of the HTL Cup Series. Has not won since in HTL competition. He sits third. Parkhurst in fourth. Parkhurst already has a win in the Truck Series in this current season, but would love a step up here. Hagan on the outside lane. Gibney and Henderson know that if they're going to move, they've got to move on the inside lane, or they've got to feed Hagan to the inside lane and move him out of the way. The issue is that Morris and Oberstedt are also trying to do the exact same thing. With 5 laps to go, if you're in the top 10, you've still got a good shot. The issue is that there's bad bumps there off the edge of turn 2 by Oberstedt to Connor Morris, and it's checking him up. Parkhurst moved to the inside lane in front of Morris, and Morris immediately took off with Parkhurst like a rocket strapped to the back of that car. It's Camaros on the inside. Do or die, Parkhurst led that lap. 4 to go. Reminder on rules regarding green-white checkers. If you see the white flag, that is it. But they've got to take the white flag for the race to be official. What happens here? Hagan moved to the middle. Everyone checks up, and there's going to be the caution. That's the 50th James Wright. Wright was already off the lead lap. So lap cars crashing behind will put us into the green-white checker territory. Ask and ye shall receive. And of all of the plate races we've seen in HTL, if you lead on the restart, you don't lead at the finish. So if you're John Hagan, now you worry. We are approaching overtime here in HTL National Series competition. 7th caution of the night. And it's a big accident involving James Wright and other lap cars. We'll go back and look at it. This was the view we saw live. And you're seeing already trouble there further behind. It looks like it's Olivia Hammond that gets turned initially here. And it's off the nose of Cali Height that this all occurs. Hammond tried to check up for Sosi. Height just kind of power drove, and then everyone checks up there behind the bunch. And it was almost even more accidents there after the caution had come out. Three attempts at a green-white checkered finish. Standard overtime procedures for stock car racing. In line with the truck series that we see on Tuesday nights. .20 cars on the lead lap as things stand. Harold Barnes the second, the last car on the lead lap as we currently see things. Still a lot of cars running. Anything can happen here at Daytona, and usually it does. Again, statistically speaking in HTL, since ABM began broadcasting HTL races, there has not been a single overtime finish that has seen the leader of the restart win the race. The odds are not in John Hagan's favor. And John Hagan knows because he won the Truck Series race at Daytona. Light goes off on the pace car. 1 lap into our first attempt at overtime in the HTL National Series. Hagan chose the outside lane. He's going to have help from Steven Overstap. Parkhurst to the inside lane. It's Connor Morris. Behind him, row 3, Kevin Gibney Jr. and Blake Henderson. Row 4, Jeremy Bailey and Josh Gaiman. Row 5, Selena Thompson and Josh Sosi. Showtime here at Daytona. The championship rounds, if this was a heavyweight bout, they've arrived. It's the end of regulation. We're on lap 80 now, but we know we have at least 2 more laps to go when we see the green flag. 22 cars on the lead lap. Chris Pendell and Richard Gonzalez. Wounded, but on the lead lap still with a chance. A hope and a prayer. This is their Hail Mary. If you're in the top 10, your objective is just flat to the floor and don't lift. That's what we see so many times here at Daytona. It doesn't matter what competition it is, whether it's HTL, ARCS. We've always seen it. It's always been this way. And this is how the race will finish. 3 attempts to end this race under green. There is a finite end in sight. Is it this restart? Green flag in the air, and away we go. Overtime at Daytona. Morris and Parkhurst got a really good start, as did Hagan and Overstap. Inside lane seems more put together, though. They're going to side draft like no other, though. That's what Hagan did. Morse goes to the middle. Abandons Parkhurst. And this is going to be pandemonium. Everyone going for broke. And they're not going to make it back. Car hard in the wall. It's John Buwalda. It's Buwalda that got turned. Attempt number 2. Now we're going to rack them back up. And I said it before, when it comes to this part of the race, drivers just do not lift. And that time, it's off of a 3-wide situation between Ascent Racing teammates, Eichler and Eli Sasek, pitting Buwalda in between them here. Not a whole lot Buwalda's able to do here. We'll see what happens here on the outside lane. We'll see if maybe there's a different perspective here to this. We'll go to the blimp cam here that we've got looking down towards turn 3. Sasek moves to the middle. Oh, and this all kind of just starts. Sasek bounced off the wall. Buwalda was just trying to stay clear of it, and Eichler was there. Fortunate. All of that takes place there. And Buwalda ends up worse forward out of it. Sasek tried to put it 3 wide. Getting pretty greedy there for outside the top 10. Try to go for a middle gap there. Peltier Sharp probably wasn't aware that they were 3 wide. Moves down a little bit. The 94 moves up. Sasek just runs out of space. Tags the wall. And yeah, Buwalda nowhere for him to go. He's trying to figure out where Sasek's going to go and try to avoid him. And Eichler, once Sasek's out of frame, there's nowhere that Eichler can go to see him. Multifaceted issue there. Buwalda's going to stay out though. Hagen, Henderson, Oberstadt, and Gaiman at the front of the field. Car getting the free pass. The lead is the 24 of David Durant. That'll give us 23 cars on the lead lap. And again, analytics say if you lead the restart, you do not lead at the finish. Hagen thought he was going to find out on that restart, was about 500 feet away from the white flag. But now he's going to rack it up and try again. And he's got to figure out what teammate he wants having with him. Josh Gaiman in the top 4 is not going to be friendly with him. Oberstadt worked pretty well with Hagen. Does Hagen choose the inside lane? Hagen at this point's got to be very well aware that Gaiman's going to dump him the first chance he gets. Pretty big blood feud going on there between the 85 and the 61. Very much less than friendly, and Hagen chose Oberstadt. Very well and clear how the situation is going to turn out there. Out of necessity. They spelled out their moves here for this next restart as we come to 1 to green for the second attempt at a green-white checkered. Again, for those just tuning in, for the finish of this race, we're in overtime. Race was scheduled to 80 laps. We're on 84. Second attempt at a green-white checkered finish. John Hagen leads. Henderson second. Oberstadt third. Gaiman fourth. Josh Susi and Connor Morris make up row 3, 5th and 6th for them. Callie Height, Kevin Gibney, top 8. 9th and 10th, James Jones and Jeremy Bailey. It's familiar faces at the front of the field. Do they stay familiar for too awful long? We're going to find out. 5 miles of regulation left to go once we see the green flag. 2 laps if we can get this restart to completion. If is a very big word here at Daytona. We've seen everything. We've seen green flag pit stops. We saw strategy calls, and now we've seen the melee that ensues with late race cautions here at Daytona. It has genuinely been a race of everything to kick off the season in the HTL National Series and to kick off a wonderful weekend of racing at Daytona with a lot more racing coming up tomorrow and Sunday. Who wins the season opener for the HTL National Series? We're going to find out. A lot of cars still with their hats in the rain. 23 on the lead lap. So never say never if you're one of those 23. From Hagan to David Duran Jr. "31 cars took the start. 32 cars entered. Caleb Carter, the only driver that did not start this race. 5 miles of racing scheduled to remain as the pace car pulls in. Hagan, Henderson, Oberstadt, and Gaiman lead us to green. We're back underway, attempt number 2. And the inside lane got going a lot better. Hagan went to cover off, in trouble, and immediately we're going to see another caution. That is further back. Hammond, Parker, center of your screen. That's the 50th James Wright, who was in position to be lucky dog. And that's gone. Santiago and others involved. And immediately we're going to see the last attempt at a green-white checkered. And that was rapid. Desperation for those further back with nothing to lose. And it looks like it starts there with Parkhurst and Selena Thompson. We'll see what happens here. Go to our trusty blimp cam. Already, you see the push and the pusher here. You can't tandem like this if you're Selena Thompson. She's leaning on the 45 in this situation. Completely leaning on James Jones, who's already into the back of Callie Height. And you already see what's going to happen here. Jones shoots to the outside. Thinks Selena Thompson's impatience. Selena Thompson, not incident-free here. Tags the wall. 18 in the 494, and everyone scrambles here. And in slow motion, you see the hopes of several drivers trying to win this race come to a screeching halt. A screeching and finite halt. With one attempt at a restart left in this race. Cars come down pit lane to repair damage. Now it's about survival and salvaging. Scavenging like vultures, whatever they can, result-wise. Hagan's got to have another fantastic restart, and that's going to be hard to do. And now we have approached this issue. We were wondering if we were going to see it. Now we see drivers that have to save fuel. That pit on lap 61 and have not been back down pit lane since. They've got the lightest cars, but they're in the most risk. Can they make it to the end of this attempt? That is the million-dollar question now lingering over several drivers' heads. Morris was below the yellow line trying to save fuel, so was Henderson and a couple others. It is not easy if you're having to save fuel now, knowing that it is now do or die officially, and you're in the top 5 with a chance to win this race. Hagan, Henderson, Gaiman, top 3. Oberstadt in 4th, Connor Morris in 5th, Kevin Gimney Jr. in 6th, Further on down the order, it is Josh Susie, Jeremy Bailey, Kelly Height, and Rhett Balzer in the top 10. Eichler and Pendel, top 12. This is the last attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Regardless of what happens, this will be the last restart they come to. Does this race end under green? Or do we end this race like where we're at right now in a few laps' time, behind the Ford Mustang pace car? Hagan chose the outside. He's going to pair up once again with Oberstadt, similar to the first green-white checkered attempt. It's going to be once again Blake Henderson relying on Josh Gaiman on the inside lane to keep things in check. 21 cars on the lead lap from Hagan to Santiago. If you're in the top 7, if you're in the top 10, you've got a chance in 5 miles to weasel your way to the front of the field. If you're behind the top 10, if you're from Eichler on down, you're in salvage and scavenge mode. The difference between top 10 and the 11, if you're top 10, you still have a hawk as your spirit animal. If you're 11th on down, you've got the vulture. Someone's flying high, though, tonight. Metaphorically or literally. We've seen cars clear catch fences before. This is either going to be a grandstand finish or a parade behind the pace car to finish this out. What will it be? It's on the driver's hands. "80 laps was the scheduled distance for on 88. We will finish on lap 90. "21 cars on the lead lap. It's Hagan, Henderson, Gaiman, and Oberstadt, top 4. Pace car is in. This is the last attempt at a green-white checkered. We're underway. Good restart by Hagan and Oberstadt, but Gimney was too far back. Inside lane was on it. And now the slugfest commences. 3-car tandem on the inside lane. Henderson now at the race lead. Can he hold it? Gaiman gets turned. Morris goes up high. What does Henderson do? He goes up high as well. Gaiman saves it. He's still in it. Captain Flynn in it. He stays in the top 10. But now it's on a play for. Coming to the white flag. Do they make it back? Contact. Gibney and Henderson. Morris leads the white flag lap. 1 to go. This is it. It's Morris and Hagan. Oberstadt third. And keeping on the 6 of Chris Pendel, who moves to the inside, following Morris. Henderson gets turned. But they're going to race it back. Trouble all the way through. It's a drag race down the back straightaway. More cars on the outside lane. Do we see the throws of desperation? Yes, we do! Trouble for Hagan. He gets turned. So does Kelly Height. Steven Oberstadt will win this race. Chris Pendel and David Durand round out the podium. Satzek and Eichler top 5. Steven Oberstadt grabs his first win in HTL competition. And in traditional Daytona fashion, hope turns into heartbreak for so many. A little bit of a nudge. Between the 24 and the 88. And Chris Pendel also giving a nudge there. Steven Overstap, the race winner. And he will burn it down. He wins his first race in HTL competition. At a place his brother won in ARCS last year. And Overstat, that important statistic that we've seen, unfortunately, more often than not, the only lap he led was the last one. He'll burn it down in the infield here, across the paint that is so popular. And he'll park it across start finish line as a winner in Daytona. A fantastic result here tonight. Steven Overstep, the race winner here at Daytona. A fantastic job by Steven Overstat and company. Phenomenal job here tonight. We have post-race interviews coming up for the podium finishers here tonight. We are going to take a look, though, at the results here tonight. A wild result. Unofficial, obviously those key words here tonight. Steven Overstat started this race in 22nd, led only one lap in this race. But it was the one that mattered the most. It was the race win for car 88. Chris Pendel and David Durand round out the top three. Eli Sassig and Caleb Eichler, fantastic results for Ascent Racing. The 90 and the 99, top five for them. Olivia Hammond, a top six effort ahead of Rhett Balzer. John Hagan in 8th place. Alyssa Pelletier Sharp and Josh Gaiman top 10. Angel Santiago in 11th. And Harold Barnes rounds out the top 12. Looking a little further down, 13th through 24th here. Callie Height, 13th. Then John Buwalda, Richard Gonzalez, Jeremy Bailey, Kevin Gibney Jr., James Jones, Blake Henderson, Connor Morris, Josh Sosi in the 21st position for Josh Sosi. Selena Thompson, Mark Parkhurst, and James Wright, 24th. We go all the way down here. Richard Ode, Alfred Denny, Austin Mongold, Chris Justice, Tony Burt, John McIntyre, Jacob Shangle, and Caleb Carter, rounding out the cars that entered tonight's event. We're going to hear from the podium finishers here in just a moment. We'll start with third place and work our way back up. We'll start with David Durand Jr., his first race on ABN. It's a podium. Third place for the 24 machine. David, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. Do you got a copy?
How you doing?
Third place here tonight, couple laps led. You had to come from a lap down to get to the podium. Walk us through that race and that finish for you. Obviously, a fantastic job recovering from what was a very hectic race early on.
Yeah, I was just trying to stay out of trouble as much as I could, and every time I tried to make a run, the trouble always found me. But they recover from a lap down and somehow get a top 5 finish. I mean, it's pretty good. I'm not going to complain.
Obviously, it was a big night here. First race in HTL for the series. A lot of new faces working together. A lot of first-time occurrences here your first time on Avian Television. It's a podium here tonight. For those that maybe aren't familiar with who you are, is this your kind of racing? Is Gen 6 your style of racing? And obviously with the 9 races coming up here, Darlington, Chicagoland, Watkins Glen, is this something you can build momentum off of and try to get some more podiums and possibly a race win? What races are you contending for here?
All of them. Gen 6 is probably my favorite car to run in the sim, so I can contend with all of them. This some I'm really familiar with and do a lot of practice and testing, so I'm hoping for any of these next 9 races that we get some long runs, let the car come to life. So we'll just see as we take each race on. So I mean, to get third out of this is can come from 23rd to 3rd, that last yellow right there. So I mean, we'll just see. This is what I'm not a big fan of the Gen 6 on the restrictor plates, because you have to have like 3 or 4 cars lined up together to make anything happen. So I mean, yeah, you're right, a lot of new faces, so getting used to driving with everybody. So we'll just see what happens at Darlington next week.
You did a phenomenal job again, going from a lap down early on, a long green flag pit stop window as well, 2 green flag pit stops in that window as well, but you managed to recover and get back to 3rd place. A fantastic job, a podium to start off the season. Before I let you go and get ready for Darlington next Friday, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on your first win and your first podium appearance here on Avian Television.
Just like to thank Chris Justice and Jeremy Bailey for letting me run with them. I asked them to, we were looking for a league on Friday nights because one of our ones just ended and not renewing season 2. So we decided I was looking for a league, and I asked these 2 to come in. So I'm happy they decided to come, and we're running. So I'd like to just thank those guys. Shout out to them, and we'll take our talents next week to Darlington.
A fantastic job, David Duran Jr., 3rd place finish with the number 24 machine here at Daytona. A fantastic job, a good looking paint to boot. David, enjoy the podium, and we'll be seeing you next week at Darlington.
Thank you, Carmen.
That was David Durand, 3rd place finish here at Daytona. A fantastic result. Was as low as 25th at one point. Recovered to 3rd place, a fantastic effort, and as you heard him, he's got some help here, and they're going to try to take the league by force here this season. 9 races to go. Darlington up next for them. Looking forward to it. Up next, we get to talk to Chris Pindell. Aberdeen, Ohio's own Chris Pindell, 2nd place finisher here tonight. Chris Pindell, this is Carmen from the APN booth. You got a copy?
Hey. Yeah, I got you.
What a drive. From the last row of the grid, started 31st, led laps, finished 2nd. What a drive. It was anything but straightforward, as it usually is for you here on these restrictor plates, but a 2nd place finish. How are you feeling?
Feel pretty great. I'm actually excited for this. Yeah, I got up there and led some laps a little bit. I want to apologize to Blake because I was trying to work with him there, and I spun him and caused him to wreck, but I was just doing my best to – you never know at these plate races. You just got to be at the right place at the right time, and luckily for me, I was in the right place at the right time. I was trying to be patient the whole race. Just pick my spots where I needed to make moves, and I don't know how I did it, but that last restart there, I felt a little bit underpowered because I was in that couple cautions before, and I just stayed in the draft, and I just seen cars sliding everywhere, losing, just went changing lanes, and I was just taking open holes, and it somehow got me a 2nd place finish, and I will take a 2nd place finish. So I'm very happy with that, especially with my luck at these restrictor plate tracks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to Darlington next week, so that's even better for me.
Yeah, obviously a lot of people looking forward to Darlington here in these Gen 6 cars. 32 cars showed up tonight. Obviously, you were starting in the last row of the field. You start off with the 2nd place finish at a track type that typically is very unforgiving to you. We have tracks that are a lot more friendly to you, statistically speaking. Darlington, Chicagoland, Kentucky at the end of the first half of the season. How are you feeling going into this, and obviously stepping into it, getting your feet back wet with this car, as a car that drivers have not driven very often over the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's been a couple seasons since I've raced this thing, so it was definitely just learning this thing again and seeing how it handles. Obviously Daytona, you rely on the draft. Handling's not as important, but you'll rely on the draft. So next week's going to be interesting. Actually, the rest of the season's going to be interesting, but I'm really, really looking forward to starting off this season strong. I know I've had some bad luck in the truck series, and so maybe my luck will turn around after this finish tonight, and we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Good tracks for me, like you said. Darlington, Chicagoland, Kentucky's pretty good to me. I think like I'll be all right at RRP. Dover's another fun track of mine. So we'll see what happens.
So you did a fantastic job here at Daytona. Chris Pendel from 31st, last row of the grid, to second place with 2 laps led tonight. Before we let you go and let you get ready for Darlington up ahead, because you get to race Tuesday and Friday nights, if there's anyone shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on the effort and a fantastic second place finish tonight.
I just want to appreciate HTL for putting this on, especially Angel, Mark, Kevin, Dylan, all these guys that run this series. I know how much of a headache it can be, obviously, with me running it with Dean over there in the truck series. So I appreciate all that. I appreciate, obviously, the boss man, Blake, for putting this on. I appreciate you broadcasting. I just appreciate everybody at Deep Racing. We got a good bunch of group over there, and we're going to be tough to beat this rest of the season, I feel like. And thanks just to everybody for tuning in and enjoy watching this broadcast. Couldn't do it without the support, obviously. I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season. And Carmen, OH.
IO.
That's right. We'll talk at you later.
Absolutely. See you on Tuesday. Fantastic job, Chris Pendel. Second place finish here at Daytona to kick off the season strong for that number 6 machine. A fantastic effort there. But we've got one driver who's probably a little bit more excited than Chris Pendel, and that is Steven Oberstadt, a race winner here at Daytona for the first time in HTL competition. Steven Oberstadt, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I do.
What a drive. Top 5 car all night long. Teammate help there with Connor Morris with you. And a win for the first time in HTL competition at a track that means so much to so many people. How you feeling?
I feel relieved. That was pretty wild at the end, but it was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed that car in that package. It was a lot of fun, and honestly, I was pretty content just riding behind John and then trying to help Connor if I could. But the cards kind of fell in my favor.
Obviously, this track is something that we know you're good at these tracks. You won at Talladega in the ARC State Square Cup Series. Your brother Patrick won the Truck Series season opener last season for the ARC State Square, for the ARC's Saturday Night Showdown Series. These tracks, they speak to you and your brother and Carolina Beagle Racing so well. Doesn't matter what car it is, whether it's the next gens, whether it's the Gen 6, the trucks. What is it about this track that just works so well for you? What is it about this type of racing that works so well for you? Is it the chaos, or is there a method of strategy to the madness here?
We had a pretty good party in terms of people helping each other with John and Connor and Selena, to where we could kind of try to work together when we can. But I feel like patience. I'm a pretty patient driver for the most part, especially on these races, and it's just about avoiding the chaos and getting a little lucky and then being there at the end. But yeah, I love this style of racing, especially growing up Earnhardt fan. You always look forward to this type of track, so it's fun to actually put it to the test a little bit and every now and then come out with a win.
Well, that's exactly what you did tonight. Started 22nd, led 1 lap, and that was the lap that mattered here tonight, with Darlington coming up next. How are you feeling going into the rest of the season? Now you've got your first race win in HTL competition. It's a hard place to get a race win, but now you're leading the championship.
Yeah, feels good. I mean, when I started league racing last year in A squared and HTL and everything, I'd never been on iRacing before, so I was mainly just trying to stay out of the way and not cause chaos and not get people mad at me. So I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. We'll see when we get to the bigger tracks that take a little bit more driving. But yeah, definitely starting to feel a little bit more comfortable, making some gains and learning some things from the faster people that are around me and willing to share knowledge. So been having a good time, and we'll see what we can do the rest of the year.
You did a fantastic job here, Steven, here at Daytona, grabbing a race win. Your first at HTL competition to kick off 2024. Before we let you go and let you get ready for all the racing coming up in the week ahead, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, Stephen, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the effort here. Your race winner at Daytona.
Yeah, thank you. First and foremost, obviously want to thank everybody in HTL for putting this stuff on. ABN. Want to shout out John Smeal for always making paints for me. He slapped this one together today. I always kind of give him zero time ahead of time to put them together. So shout out to him. He's a great painter. Always makes the car look good. Shout out my wife for letting me race, and shout out to Ralph, obviously my dog. He's always riding with me. And shout out to John and Connor and Selena for helping out, and anybody else that we were working with. And let's go get them the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Stephen Oberstadt, race winner at Daytona and championship leader in the HTL National Series. Way to kick off a season strong. Stephen, enjoy the race win, and we'll be seeing you again very shortly on Monday.
Absolutely. I'm going to go drink a couple beers.
Absolutely. Go and enjoy it.
Thanks.
That was Stephen Oberstadt, race winner here at Daytona. Again, we've gone through the results. We'll go through it one more time here tonight. Working our way from back to front. A phenomenal result for Stephen Oberstadt. Everyone, mixed results around the board. Oberstadt led one lap. That was the lap that mattered. Chris Pendel, 2 laps led. Same with David Durand. A lot of lead changes here tonight at Daytona. For Ascent Racing, a fantastic effort for them as a team. 4th and 5th with Sasek and Eichler. Overall, I think that was a pretty serviceable race at Daytona, and a fantastic way to start off with a fantastic weekend of racing here at the World Center of Racing here in Daytona. A lot of racing coming up this weekend. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. it's the E83 Flying Machine Duels at Daytona to help figure out more of the Winstel 400 field. It's a full weekend of racing for the Winstel 400. Sunday, coverage begins on ABN2 for the Winstel 400 itself, going on into the night on Sunday. Monday begins Darlington week for HTL. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, we're at Darlington for the Cup Series, Truck Series, and National Series, with a couple of fun races in between on Wednesday and Thursday. For everyone that tuned in for an amazing night, wide open coverage across ABN2 and ABN1, we appreciate it. Whether you turned in for a Winstel 400 qualifying and then just jumped over when we jumped over here for racing at Daytona, or whether you just jumped in for this race tonight, we appreciate the support. A fun start to the weekend with even more in store. On behalf of everyone here for ABN Studios, everyone here for HTL, the National Series, and everyone over at Winstel Racing for ABN2's coverage earlier tonight, I'm Carmen, Sienna. Thank you all so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun. We'll see you tomorrow night right back here in Daytona Beach. Until then, we'll see you next time.